She's with Education Quest out of Lincoln. Their offices are still, I want to say, open by appointment. And so great resource for you guys is going to talk to you guys about financial aid. Okay. All right, thank you, Les.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Good, bad, or ugly. We're going to spend about an hour together. It is financial aid. I know it's 2:30 on a Friday afternoon, but I'll do my best to keep this lively for you. The main thing to keep in mind is what I'm about to share is very critical information as you transition past Johnson Brock and into your colleges, whether they're 2-year schools or 4-year schools. Even if you're leaving the state of Nebraska, what I'm about to explain to you is going to be the information you need to get money to pay for that education. So as she said, my name's Les Monroe. I am Director of College Planning at Education Quest. My office is in Lincoln. We have offices in Lincoln, Omaha, and Kearney as we provide free services to help get you to college. So a couple things I want to talk about today. First of all, we hosted a virtual college fair. You see those dates, and I know they're past. That was September 27th through the 30th. So even though it's over, you'll see that link that we have there for you. Give me 1 second. It's right here, eqf.org/college fair. If you want to make a note of that, the booths that these colleges put up in order to interact with students during this 4-day event, those booths are still accessible. We will keep this platform alive until the 1st of December. So if you have nothing else to do this weekend, go to that link and you will be able to watch recorded sessions that were done during that 4-day period. You will be able to visit the college booths that are still active. So it'd be a good way to do research if you're needing to do research on colleges. What we're going to go through in the next roughly 55 minutes or so, I'm going to cover these 5 things. Number 1, how much does college cost? I was the first in my family to go to college, and while my parents helped me through everything that I did, they didn't go to college. They didn't know how to help me with that. I want to make sure you understand, number 1, how much does a college cost? Because number 2, what kind of financial aid can I get to pay for it? I really doubt you have a bunch of money crammed under your mattress ready to write checks. So I want to make sure you understand, number 2, the types of financial aid to pay for, number 1, which is the cost of the college. Number 3, we're going to talk about the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. This is a government form that you will be required to fill out in order to get most of that college funding. So we'll talk about that today. I'm going to talk about number 4, how do colleges award financial aid? We hear this from students all the time in our offices. Why did my friend get more money than me when we're going to the same college and I'm a better student and I'm a better athlete and I'm better in theater? I'm going to explain what these colleges look at as they're giving each one of you money. And then finally, where do you get free help? Well, I kind of started with that. Everything we do is free. And that's why we are in all of the high schools, sadly, doing them remotely this year. But we're in all of the high schools helping students with this process because we are free. And the schools invite us in to do these presentations so that you can be informed. So number 5, that's us. All right, so the first thing I told you we're going to talk about. How much will college cost? You will see here that we've identified the cost of education. We are only looking for these 4 bullets. I want you to know that what I'm about to explain is universal language. If you're looking at Harvard or Stanford or MIT, call them this afternoon or Monday and ask them, what is your cost of education? And they will give you dollar values to these 4 bullets. Call Southeast Community College or Peru this afternoon or Monday and ask them for their cost of education. They're going to give you dollar values to these 4 bullets. It's universal. So the first bullet, that is your tuition and fees. That is the money they're going to charge you for the right to sit in their classes. It pays for the faculty salaries. The fees pay for things like clubs and organizations. So the student groups have money to bring you entertainment and guest speakers. So $1 value for those two items. The next bullet, it's going to be your books. Your books are no longer free. You have to buy them when you go to college. The college will let you get money and financial aid to buy your books. Number 3, your room and board. Where are you going to live and how are you going to eat? So you'll be able to pick from some different options and they'll let you get money and financial aid to pay for that. And finally, this is your personal and transportation. This is your soap and shampoo and toothpaste and gas money. They let you get money and financial aid to buy that stuff. Now, some of you might think, well, I don't need money for that. I'm just going to steal it when I come back for the weekend. And you probably will. But what we don't know is, where are you going to college? What if you end up at Berkeley out in California? You're not coming home for the weekend. So that's why they let you get money to buy that stuff, because right now we don't know where you're going. So you've got 4 bullets. You add them all up and you now have the cost of your college. This gives you some ranges. We'll show you the 2-year community colleges, like maybe Southeast Community College or Metro in Omaha. That's a range. So the tuition and fees for a 2-year, about $3,100 to $3,600, somewhere in there. 4-year public, $7,500 to $9,200. I want to point out here, what is a public college? A public school is a school that receives tax money from the state where they live. Now, I know that sounds boring, but this is why it's important to you. Because they receive tax money in the state where they live, and you're looking at a public school outside of the state, you're not paying taxes in that state. They're going to charge you an increase in tuition because you haven't been paying taxes. That's called a non-resident rate or tuition. A good example, let's say you want to go to K-State in Manhattan. Or maybe you want to go to KU down in Lawrence. Or maybe you want to go to Northwest Missouri State. You have not been paying taxes in those states. They are public schools. They are going to increase their tuition rate to make up for lost revenue for you. So you need to be aware of that. And then you need to ask them, what type of financial aid do you offer to offset that increase for a non-resident? The private colleges, you're smart enough, you can figure that out. Where does their funding come from? Private sources, not taxes. So they're getting money from donors and private organizations. So obviously, without the tax revenue, look at their tuition rates. It's a little scary. This is going to be Creighton, Wesleyan, Doane, Hastings, Midland, the public, UNL, UNO, UNK, Wayne, Chadron, Peru. So there's our initial difference in these rates due to public or private funding. I cannot stress enough to you right now that you should never dismiss a college because you think you can't afford them. If you do, you are sadly mistaken and you're hurting yourself. Just because the college has a higher price, these private colleges have really deep pockets. I know for a fact, I've been doing this 32 years. I know for a fact there are students on the private college campuses because of one reason: it costs them less than it would have cost them to go to a public school. And when I get into this in a minute, you'll understand why. Finally, we have a career school. This is going to be like cosmetology, or maybe an art institute or a business college. And you'll see their ranges as a career school. So these are the 4 types of institutions. Now this screen shows you a chart that we have in a publication. That publication is called the College Prep Handbook. Mrs. Richardson has copies of those books. If she hasn't already given them to you, they're in her office. If she has given them to you, pull them out of the back seat of your car or the bottom of your locker, because there's important stuff in them. Namely this. Here are the four-year public in Nebraska. Chadron, Peru, UNL, UNO, UNK. And you see we're telling you the tuition rate. So these are the costs of our Nebraska schools. I'm going to single these out for you. Let's start with UNL. I'm going to pick on our Lincoln schools because I'm in Lincoln. So UNL, see their tuition rate? $9,690 for the year right now to sit in their classroom. That's what your friends at UNL are paying for their classes and their fees. You see the books, about $1,000 a year for books. You add that up to the tuition rate. Housing, they're living on campus as first-year students. They're paying $12,186 for housing. And then their personal and transportation. Remember that soap, shampoo, toothpaste, and gas money to get around? $3,310. Now you have UNL's cost for this year. $26,186 is that total. As a senior in high school, you will pay more than that because colleges increase every year. So this will show you at what point they're starting. Let's move into the next category. These are our privates. I'm going to pick on Wesleyan, another Lincoln school. You'll see their rate down there at the bottom for classes, $36,974. Books about $1,000. Housing a little bit less than UNL. Personal and transportation, a little bit more, $3,500. When you add them up, Nebraska Wesleyan is $52,004 for the year. Also in our handbook, we have the other schools. Here's all of our community colleges. Let's look at Southeast Community College. I'm going to pick on Beatrice campus. I think a lot of you head to Beatrice before you head to Lincoln. Their tuition rate, $3,330. Their books, housing to live on campus, just over $8,000. Personal and transportation, just over $2,200. Southeast Community College is running just over $14,000 a year by the time you throw in your housing and personal stuff. So there you go. Now you know how to price out your colleges. Give some thought to this with the schools you have on your list. And then we're ready to pay for it. So in our handbook, on page 8, we give you this information. This is the 4 types of money available to pay for your education. This is all you're looking for. You've got scholarships, you've got grants, you've got work study, and you have student loans. You'll notice the grant and the work study and the loans, they have an asterisk, a little star that follows their title. Look down here at the bottom of the screen on the left. It's based on the FAFSA. That's a really awkward word to say. You need to learn it. You need to say it. You need to know what it does. The free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA, it is required. You have to fill it out if you want to touch grant money, or if you want a job from the college, or if you want to borrow. So 3 of the 4 types of funding options are based on one government form. And I'm also going to say some scholarships also require it. So we just tell everybody, file the FAFSA, get it done, see what comes out of it. I'm going to talk about each one of these because I'm not going to assume for a second that you know the difference between these 4 types of funds. I'm going to begin with scholarships. A scholarship is free money that you're going to get based on your personal characteristics. I want you to think about what makes you special, unique, different. Why are you weird compared to your classmates? That's why you're going to get money. Obvious scholarships, number 1 in your class, you nailed the ACT, got a great grade point average. That wasn't me. Somebody who is that way, that makes you special, unique, or for me, weird, because I wasn't that way. It made you different than me. Or what about athletics? Captain of your team? Are you talented on the court or the field? I wasn't. You wouldn't know it because I'm sitting down, but I'm 6'4". I can't dribble a basketball and walk at the same time. I have zero athletic ability. So that makes a talented athlete different than me. What about art, music, or speech and theater? I wasn't talented in those areas. Truth be told, most of you sitting there in the gym, you're more like me than not. We are not number one in our class. We're not first chair violin. We're not captain of our team. So we need to think about scholarships for all of these other reasons. My dad worked for a packing plant when I was in high school, and he belonged to a union. Dependents of union members were eligible for scholarships through that union. There's an employer tie. I want you to think about, are you tall or short? You have long hair? Are you bald? Are you good at duck calling? There's a scholarship if you win a duck calling contest. Skateboarding contest, scholarship for that too. At the core of a scholarship, it's somebody giving away money because of XYZ. They're passionate about something. And if you possess that and they can find you or you find them, that's how you get connected and win those dollars. Now, most of you, typical student, 4, 5, or 6 scholarships. That's all you're going to apply for. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand to see who's already started to apply because it's rare that students do, and I'm not here to embarrass anybody. What I do want to tell you is you should be applying for 75 to 100 scholarships. The more you apply for, the greater your chance of winning. So apply, apply, apply. There's a family I've been working with for several years now. 2 girls in the family. Both of those women are applying for scholarships every year. Mother requires they apply for over 200 each. These women are pulling in over $30,000 apiece every year that they're in school. The oldest one is approaching $180,000 through the last 4 years. So she's bringing in way more than $30,000 a year. All of these stack on top of each other. So the money comes in to pay the bill, the rest goes in the bank. I think the bell's done. Where do you want to look, or where should you look? I want you to look with Mrs. Richardson, check with the school counselor. A money available on the local level, it's coming right there through the school. She's going to be promoting it. You need to pay attention and apply. Check with the college. Your colleges will be giving you money to recruit you. So find out what scholarships are available and what are their deadlines. Come to us. On our website, we have this tool called Scholarship Quest. Over 2,000 scholarships in this database, people trying to get money to Nebraska students. Go there and set up an account and see if you can find them. Private organizations like your church, maybe the Moose Lodge or the Eagles Club, and go out to the internet. We have 9 search engines on our website. We've already tested them. We trust them. They're links. Go click on those and do an internet search. Or Google it for other reasons that you feel you might be different or unique. We always like to talk about this scholarship because it is huge. I'm sure you know that Buffett name. It's pretty cool having one of the wealthiest families in the world in your backyard.
The SBLA meeting will be in the commons area. There is an SBLA meeting today during study hall in the commons area.
It's even nicer when the Buffett family is giving away hundreds of millions of dollars to our Nebraska students. They're trying to reach you. You need to meet them halfway. If you want to write it down or remember it, the website is here at the bottom of the screen. That's where you'll find the application for this scholarship. Remember how to spell Buffett has 2 F's and 2 T's. When you're rich, you can buy extra letters. Scholarships is plural. And they're .org. They are not a .com. This scholarship, see the value up here? $10,900 a year. It can be used at any 2-year or 4-year public school in Nebraska. This is covering UNL, UNO, UNK, Wayne, Chadron, Peru, or any of the community colleges in the state. So you cannot take it out of Nebraska. You cannot currently take it to a private college. They're going to give you $10,900 a year, which covers tuition, fees, and books at any of these institutions. Last year, there were about 3,000 students that applied. 1,400 students got this scholarship. Again, it is huge. It's one of the biggest in the country, if not the largest private scholarship that's out there. Your odds of winning this are really good. The application will open up on November 1, so it's not too far away.
Please come to the office. Jackson Argoyo to the office.
It's not too far away that it opens up, just a couple weeks, and you have until February 1 to finish it. I want to point out this term right here. See this EFC? That stands for Expected Family Contribution. I'll talk more about it later. Buffett's wanted it to be under $10,000. This will make sense in a moment. We are offering some scholarships to you. The first one is the Financial Aid Program Scholarship to say thank you for being in the room today. Whether or not it was your choice, you're here. So at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you a link. If you want to go to that link and drop your name in for a random drawing, that lets us know you were here. We're going to give away 6 scholarships in December when these programs are finished, $500 per student. Now this is not 500, or this is not 6 scholarships to Johnson Brock. This is 6 statewide. But a couple of years ago, we had someone from Humboldt win it. So good chance it could be you. Scavenger hunt. You go poke around on our website and play with some of the tools we have available. We're going to randomly pull 2 names and we'll give each of those students $500. We have a social scholarship. You want to follow us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram? Every time we add another 250 followers on each platform, we're going to give away $500. There's no limit to how many of these we're giving away. So there's 3 that we're setting up just to get you engaged. All right, the next category. We've covered scholarships pretty well. The next category is grants. This is free money based on your financial profile. We have money from the federal government, state government, and college. On the federal level, we have the Pell Grant. That's the biggest program. If you're on free and reduced lunch, I guarantee you're getting this. And the maximum is $6,345. This Pell Grant never runs out. The next one does, the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. If you're not first in line for the money, even if you're qualified, they're going to give it to those who beat you to the punch. State grant money. Every state has their own bucket. In Nebraska, that money comes from the Nebraska State Opportunity Grant, and it's from the lottery. So my friends, I harp at them all the time. They know when I preach, play the lottery. They're not going to win. But I know you're going to get the money to the tune of $1,000 to $1,300 a student for any of the colleges across Nebraska. And then finally, college-based. This is how those private schools, remember those giant price tags that scared you? This is where the money comes from. They have donors giving them money and they give it away to you so it's affordable to make it to their school. You fill out the FAFSA. They will determine what you get out of grants, and the college gives it away. Work study, the third category of money that's available. They can offer you a job if you want to work. You can be employed on the college campus. It's really nice because your hours for your job work in between the hours of your classes. And finally, they're going to give you loans. I will guarantee each one of you is going to be handed $5,500. As a first-year student, they will hand you $5,500. There is no cosigner. So if your parents say they're not helping or they can't help, they don't need to. You're going to get this on your own. There is no credit check, which is good because so far you probably don't have any. There's no payment on this loan while you're in college, and that's good because most of you won't have jobs that pay enough to afford loan payment. And the other thing about it, if you need financial help, some of that loan will be interest-free, and you won't even have to pay the interest. So they're going to give you $5,500, no cosigner, no credit check, no payment while you're in college, and some of it, no interest. If you need more than that, they have a parent loan. It's called a plus. Your parents can take out this loan, and this is in our college prep handbook. All of your loan information is on page 10. I won't get into this in any greater detail other than if your parents are interested in borrowing, they can take out a parent loan. And if they tell you they are not going to borrow, you need to go hit those scholarships harder than everybody else because your parents aren't going to do it for you. Let somebody else write the check. I want to quickly highlight two pretty incredible programs that Nebraska is offering throughout the state. The first one is Nebraska Promise. This is any of the University of Nebraska campuses. So if you're looking at UNL, UNO, UNK, or the Med Center, or you might be heading out to Curtis to the College of Technical Agriculture, when you file your FAFSA form, if you're qualified for the Pell Grant, the University of Nebraska is going to guarantee that they will take that grant and they will find enough free money to wipe out all of your tuition bill. It's called Nebraska Promise. And the really cool thing, what if you win the Buffett Scholarship? Remember how much that was worth? You get Nebraska Promise, Buffett will stack on top of that, and your education at the University of Nebraska is at no cost. Nebraska Wesleyan has another pretty cool program. It's called Access, NWU. For Wesleyan, all you have to do is fill out your FAFSA form. If you're qualified for that government Pell Grant, they're going to have you take out your loan for $3,500, unless you want to bring it from graduation money, but you bring $3,500 to the table, and they will give you the remaining amount to cover all of your tuition. Their tuition for 1 year is $35,000. All free money. They cover 90%, you cover 10%. Pretty great programs if you're looking at those schools. The last thing I want to say about the University of Nebraska, they currently have a promotional program going. If you apply to the University of Nebraska before October 18th, that's Sunday, apply before Sunday, they will waive the $45 application fee. So if you are looking at the University of Nebraska, you need to get that application in before Sunday to save yourself 45 bucks. All right, we're going to move on to the process. So we talked about the 4 types of money. Now we're going to apply for it. You begin by getting a username and password. I'm going to be done here in just a minute with the whole process. I'm going to have you open up your Chromebook and we're going to get this username and password. This is your electronic signature to sign all of these forms electronically. You will need one for yourself and you're going to get one for one of your parents. Then we are ready to file the FAFSA. The free application for federal student aid When you enroll in college in 2021, that's when you start college. Your form is alive right now. It just opened up October 1st. You will use your 2019 taxes and submit the form. So you're going to be able to do this weekend. So who completes the FAFSA? Well, you. The form belongs to you as the student. You may have had things done for you a lot through your life. This is a point in time. You have to own this. The government will not interact with your parents. The colleges will not interact with your parents. Unless you sign release forms, they are only talking to you. I can't stress that enough. Now, your parents will be a part of it, most likely. So I want you to know, who do we include? Well, if mom and dad got married and they've remained married, you put them both on the form. If they're divorced or separated, you're going to use the parent where you lived most in the last year. If you lived with them equally, then you need to decide which parent is really providing more financial support. Maybe think about who pays for your health insurance or your car insurance. That's the parent they're after. If that parent got remarried, you need the step parent included. So it's the parent that's providing most support and their new spouse. Maybe your parents started the family, but they never got married. We treat them as though they're married and they both get listed. Now, I know it gets complicated. If you have questions on a personal level, call us and we will talk you through this. We'll help you with it. There could be a couple of you in the room that might be considered independent, and you will be allowed to leave your parents off the form. That will only happen if you are an orphan, a ward of the court, or you've been in foster care. Or you have a legal guardian other than a parent. Or are you homeless, meaning you do not currently live with your parent? Or do you have a child you financially support? If you fit any of those criteria, you are independent and your parents will not be included. Otherwise, there's the FAFSA screen. So you know what you're looking for when you go there this weekend. That's the FAFSA site. Once you submit the FAFSA, they're going to send out a student aid report. This is called the SAR. It's going to come to you within 3 days. So let's put this in motion for you. Let's say you file this FAFSA form tonight. By Monday, you're going to get a student aid report. It's not only going to tell you your family contribution. This is the EFC. This is a dollar value between 0 and $1 million. The Buffetts want that number to be under $10,000. But the form will also tell you if you're chosen for verification. If that happens, 1 out of 3 of you are going to have to give the college some additional documents before you'll be allowed to get money. You're going to learn all of that on that student aid report that comes 3 days after you submit. On this screen, I'm showing you that if you have special circumstances that should be taken into account, contact your college. Tell them why today's income is different than 2019, and I promise you they will work with you and they will take everything into consideration to try and get you more money. And this shows why there's different amounts of money given to different people. On the left side, you have the cost of education. Remember, I talked about the tuition and fees, the books, the room and board, the personal and transportation. So let's say you're all looking at Wayne State. They all have the same price tag, but this next bubble will not be the same for 2 of you. This is based on your parent income, and all of you have different income. It's based on student income. It's based on the age of your parents. It's based on how many are in the household. It's based on how many in college. This is complicated. That's why you file the FAFSA to get this number. The government tells the college that you can afford X. The college will subtract it from their price tag, and the amount that's left over, that's what they're going to give you in financial aid. And that's why it's different from one student to the next to the next. The higher your family contribution, in other words, the more you can pay, the less you're going to get. Okay, we'll put this in motion as we wrap it up. You take, or you begin with a student aid account. This is your username and password that we're going to get. We file the FAFSA that goes into the government to be processed. In 3 days, it's released to your schools. 1 out of 3 of you goes through verification by giving the college some documents. And then you get your award letter that will tell you how much they're going to give you. And if you have questions, you call us and we'll get you through it. Lots of tools on our website. I want to point out this one right here for you to take a note of. It's called FAFSA Tools. When you file your FAFSA, if you're doing it yourself this weekend, there's tools to help you through it. Otherwise, call us next week. We have openings. We'll do it virtually over the phone and computer. We also have a resource page where you can find virtual campus tours and assistance in filling out college admissions applications. And this is the last slide I have for this part of the presentation. There is your link to that scholarship I talked about. You will not find this anywhere else. So if you want to make note of it, eqf.org/967866. That is not on our website. It is not in the publications. This is the only place you're going to see it. And now you don't. All right, that's all we have for that. In the last 15 to 20 minutes, I want to help you with a username and password. So if you can open up your Chromebook, you'll see this website that I have right here. If you can pull up fsaid.ed.gov. There's the website again, fsaid.ed.gov. You will see 2 tabs. You're going to create an ID, or if your parents have already done this because you have an older brother or sister in college, they go to the same site, but they're going to click on Manage My FSA ID because maybe they don't remember it or they want to reset it. But today, you're going to create this thing. Again, there's your website. On the screen, you'll see where you start typing your username. The username is pretty loose. So if you want it to be tied to your name, you can. The only trick, no 2 usernames can be shared. So if you start typing and somebody else, maybe in Oklahoma, already has your username that you want, you can have it. You need to modify it until you get the pop-up message that it's available. Then write it down. You need to remember these. Once you've done that, you can move on to the password. Now, the password is really tricky. It can have nothing to do with your name, social security number, and birth date. It has to include numbers, uppercase letters, lowercase letters. And it has to be at least 8 characters long. I will tell you the password can be shared. So if you want to go get it now, go home tonight and give your parents the same password, you can do that. It's one less thing to remember. But it can have nothing to do with your name, social, and birthday. And then you click the green continue button in the bottom right. The next screen wants you to enter your personal identification information. What you need to know here is this name that you enter. Do not enter a nickname. I'm a perfect example for this. My legal name is Leslie, and I don't use that name for anything except legal documents because, well, it's a girl's name and I'm a dude. So bad trick my parents played on me. So I can't enter Les because it's not going to match Social Security. If your name is Jonathan, don't write John, it's not going to match. When you've typed in your identity, click continue. I want to tell you right now, if you do not have your Social Security number with you today, you cannot go any farther with this. You'll have to start over at home tonight. If you've got your Soc, you've entered your name, go ahead and click continue. The next screen, what's your contact information? What's your email? We do not recommend you enter your school email because when you graduate, most high schools shut down those accounts. And you're using this all the way through college. So use a personal email. If you don't have one today, go ahead and enter your school email, but then change it sometime in the next week. Enter your mobile phone. Only if you can check your phone today, right now, for a message. Only if you can check your phone for a message, should you check that itty bitty box that's on the screen. If you don't have your phone with you, do not check that box. Because in a couple screens, they're going to send you a message. And if you can't get that message, you're going to have to back all the way up and uncheck this box. So only check it if you've got your phone with you and you can pull it up. You do not need an alternate phone. Leave that question blank. Fill in your address and click continue in the bottom right corner. The next screen wants you to answer 4 challenge questions. You're going to have drop-down boxes in order to answer the question. I don't know if you can read it on the screen, but I tried to give you a screenshot to show you some of the questions. I wanted to stress that you should keep this simple and pick something like maybe the city where you were born, or maybe your mom's maiden name. What was her last name before she got married? Maybe your dad's middle name. This has proven to be a problem for students, and I'll give you an example why. You see the one that says, what's the color of your first car? I had a student I was working with once, could not remember their username and password, and that's why we use these questions to retrieve it and reset it. So he tried to answer that question and he couldn't remember. Did he type Gray, Grey, or did he say it was silver? So you need to give them simple answers so they're easy to remember later. Now at this point, I'm going to stop talking for just a little bit and make sure all of you get through this particular portion, and then I will take you through the remaining screens. You are almost done. These questions are the hardest part of the entire process. And Mrs. Richardson, I'll let you tell me when you think they're done and then when I should advance.
What is it?
think we're good, Les.
Okay. Your next screen is easy. You just get to confirm all your work. Check your accuracy. You want to make sure you typed everything right. There is an itty bitty little tiny box underneath all their legal conditions. You need to agree to those terms. So confirm accuracy, agree to the terms, click the green continue box in the bottom right. The next screen wants you to verify your phone. So if you check that little box several screens back, they just sent you a text message. Pull up your phone. It's got a 6-digit code in it. Type that code into the box. There is a very rare occasion that you'll get an error message and it will tell you after you typed it, it'll say type it exactly as it appears, and you know you did. That's a hiccup in the program. No one can explain it. But the good news is you have the option right above the little icon of the phone. You have the option to request a new code. So if you get an error message, just request a new code. They'll send a new message, type that code. I guarantee you at some point it will accept that code. Last year I had a mom when I was in Humboldt doing the program. She had to do this 17 times. So hopefully it won't take you that many times. But you'll get the text, enter the code. You will never use this code again. You will never use the text again. You can delete it. And then you can click submit. The next screen is going to have you do the exact same thing with your email. They're going to email a message with a 6-digit code. So open your email, pull the code, type it in. And what you just did was verified that your phone is connected to you, your email is connected to you. Not only can you use your phone and your email as a future login, you will also be able to use them to retrieve and reset your usernames and passwords in the future. Last thing I'll say about this, you are required to verify one of these. I want you to do both, but you're required to at least do one. The government will not give you an ID without verification of one of them. And then you're done. You'll get the green screen. It'll tell you on the left. It'll tell you up here, the FSA ID was created and you're ready to log into the FAFSA this weekend and file your form. We would like you to go home and help your parents do this exact same thing. Or remember, if they already have it, still go to this website and click on manage so they can retrieve it. That's all I got.
Thank you, Les. We appreciate it.
You bet. Hopefully it wasn't too echoey through the room.
No, it actually did well. So thank you.
You bet. Feel free to give them my phone number and email address if they have personal questions. Be happy to help them through it.
Okay. I appreciate it so much. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye, DeeAnn.
Bye.